college, you kind of had a reputation as a dunker, and it's just not so much of what you do anymore. You obviously still had the big dunk the other night, but what did that reputation mean to you when you first got into the league? You won the dunk contest. Now it seems like it's less a part of your game. What does it mean to you?
I make the joke that I'm getting old, so I stopped dunking. But really, for me, that was my identity. You know, if you knew me in high school, you knew me in middle school. Like, I meant what I said when I said I used to study the dunk contest. Whether it was Vince Carter, it was Jason Richardson, Jeremy Evans, it was a bunch of others, Dwight, Nate. Like, there's something else. Like, that was just what I did. I'd go to the gym and lower the hoop and try and dunk. I didn't care about pretty much any other part of the game besides making sure the other team's best player didn't score and I can get a few dunks in the game, and I was content. Like, because that was really just my skill. Like, that's all I really had. You know, I couldn't shoot, really couldn't do much. You know, I had glimpses and flashes, but that was really it. Then you kind of get to college where my offensive game kind of, you know, rose a little bit. And then, you know, you come into the league as, you know, not really known as a scorer, but kind of like you said, an athletic guy who can jump, who can guard and whatnot. Couldn't really shoot. And then, you know, just part of my development, you know, and then as you start to play the minutes that I've been playing and, you know, you start to play into the playoffs, you know, you learn something that all vets will tell you, which is to save your legs. And I see why. I understand now. And I don't even dunk in warmups, which is crazy to me. But like, I think I just got to a point where you just understand you just got to save them for as much as you can, for as long as you can. And I think that's just something that's just been my mindset, you know, and bring it out when needed, when necessary. There was a stretch where I went 3 games and 3 missed dunks. So that should tell you everything you need to know right there.
Kristen Kenny, Jazz TV.
Don, going up against the top team in the East, their guys were saying they look forward to these kind of games. What is it that you look forward to in these kind of matchups?
They're a really good team. You know, I think for us, you know, you got Joel, who's been on a monster tear. You know, that should be in the MVP race. In my eyes, I think, you know, you just got to focus. It starts with him, you know, and then you got guys around him. You got Ben in transition, finding guys. You got Seth, you know, shooting like 50, 90 or whatever it is. You know, you understand, you got guys who are fishing. You got Danny Green, you know, Tobias Harris, who, you know, should be an all-star as well. Like, they got a lot of guys who can really go get it, you know, I think. And then on top of that, they got guys that can defend. So we just got to be ready to do our thing. You know, we're all excited to get this game going. I think this is going to be one of the tougher games, you know, throughout the year. And I think this is, especially with a team you only see twice a year, you know, you don't really have time to really scout and prep for them. It's just kind of go out there. And I think this is something that's going to be just, you know, both teams battling out, and we just do what we do. And I think we'll be in good shape.
Eric Walden, Salt Lake Tribune.
Don, kind of a random question, but you guys have got Dell Demps on the bench this year, and it's kind of an unconventional path going from being a guy who's a team president or general manager and then becoming an assistant coach. Just wondering what it's been like kind of learning from him this year.
I think, you know, the best part about Dell, man, is, you know, I think he's undefeated in his scouts so far. But, you know, he's great. He comes in, gives us his 2 cents of what he sees. But a lot of it, he comes in and kind of asks questions too. You know, what we see. You know, I think that plays a part into his development as a coach as well. And also the humbleness, you know, to kind of come in there and also understand that, you know, it's a new role for him. I think we have a bunch of guys who are kind of in similar situations. You know, him, Keon, Sergi, who's on the bench as well. I think that's just something that's just great about this coaching staff. Their willingness to learn, but also willingness to speak up and let us know what they see and what coach sees. You know, and it's always great to hear coach's words, but through a different lens. You know, do it in a different voice. You know, because you kind of get the same message but in a different tone. And I think that's something that he's been doing a great job of. You know, he's been helping Big Boy out down there with AJ. You know, as far as in this. Excuse me, as far as his touches, catching the ball, finishing around the rim, you know, he's been helping JC out. You know, he's kind of been everywhere doing a lot of different things. I think it's starting to show, and, you know, it's really great to have him.
Ryan Miller, KSL.
Hey, Don, it's been a few months since Ryan Smith took over. I'm just curious, have you noticed any major differences with him being in charge?
Yeah. the tunnel walk-in is the lights are off. No, I'm kidding. It's actually pretty dope. If you guys haven't seen it because you guys aren't down there. So you walk in, you got like a red carpet now. You know, it's like a Hollywood vibe. And then you walk in and it's like our picture with our fists together. And then they have the certain lights a certain way. So it really gives you like like you're going to a show. Like it's like a really, I wouldn't say Broadway-esque vibe, but like, you know what I mean? Like it's like you're headed to a show and then you kind of look down, you see the court through that little tunnel. It's actually pretty dope. And we have our faces. So that's something that I think, you know, and I say that to say his vision for what he sees, you know, as far as changing things throughout the way you look at, you know, coming in the Jazz, the way you look at certain things. And I think it's pretty dope so far. And then on top of that, you know, him coming in and talking to us as a team, the first day he got hired, like that was pretty cool. Kind of seeing his vision on what he wanted to see the Jazz be for 10, 15, 20, 30 so odd years down the line. And he already had that, you know, in his head and had it on a presentation, you know, so the dedication to his craft. He's in here a bunch, you know, you see him doing his Zoom calls or doing whatever, and he's always in there just observing and watching, you know. And then also he's another one that's just ask questions and, you know, what we see, you know, and what we like, and then you can't complain when you send, what is it, 21, 22 kids to college so far. Like that's incredible in itself right there. So, you know, I'm really excited. I think we all are. I think he's ready to go. You know, hopefully when things get back to normal, you know, you guys can definitely see, you know, the physical things that have definitely changed, you know, in the arena and around the facility and such. But his presence is felt, and, you know, we all like him.
Andy Larson, Salt Lake Tribune.
Donovan, I know stats aren't that important to you, but you guys, the Jazz haven't had a triple-double in 13 years, right? Or at least a regular season triple-double. And I'm curious, you've gotten close, Joe's gotten close, Ricky had the one in the playoffs, but I'm curious, who do you think is going to get the next one and win? And why has it been so long for you?
I think it'll be Joe. I think it'll be Joe or Mike. If you had to ask me today, like, who do I see this season getting it, I think it'd be Joe or Mike, but just how they go about things. Those two, I think, outside of myself, that one game, I think those two are, you know, in the position, you know, a lot to kind of do those little things of getting a rebound, making a pass to a shot. And they see things that a lot of us don't because they've been at that position, the ball handling, creative passing position for many years. I think that's just something that I see that, and maybe it's me, you know, but at the end of the day, like, the best part about this group, man, it's not even just about the triple double, but this is about everything. Like, you know, it could be points, it could be rebounds, it could be assists, whatever. Like, it's not like, you know, we're out here trying to seek it or go find it. Like, I think Joe said it to you, Aaron. Like, you know, he didn't wake up and say, like, oh, I'm going to go try and break the record or his career high. And then when he got to 27, one's like, let me just go and try and get 28, 29, like, you know, 30. You know, I think that just says a lot about the people we have, you know, because it's not always the case in any way, in any shape or form of life. So I think that's just a testament to the group of guys we have. But if you had to ask me, my pick would be, actually, no, I put Royce in there too. Royce, Joe, and Mike, I think, would definitely be my picks.
Dana Green, ABC4.
Hey, Donovan, fans love this kind of stuff. You look, open up ESPN's power rankings and you see Jazz at #1, maybe for the first time ever. Does that mean anything to you guys? And also, like, second question is, how have you guys stayed so efficient without Mike Conley in there for a long stretch of time?
To be completely honest with you, I don't know exactly what the power ranking means. That's just me. I don't. I think, you know, as far as the fans go, you know, the consistent theme is we don't get enough credit as an organization. So I can understand the happiness behind it for sure. But I don't think it's something that we as players kind of go into and say, that's our goal. I think, you know, it's great to be #1, but it's one thing to be there, but we want to stay there and continue to be there. Not just now, but I said it like in July. That's really the ultimate goal, you know, and I think that's really where our head is at and going to continue to be at. And then the second part of your question, as far as, you know, without Mike, I think the best part about this group, and it's been like this for years, man, is, you know, when one guy falls, we have another guy ready to step up and be ready. We looked at George coming out last game with 5 assists. 16 points, you know, and the next game it could be JC, or you look at the way Mie played the other day. Like we just elevate our game in different ways, you know, as far as my.
Hugh Hopkins, Sky Sports.
Hi, Mike. Thanks for talking to us today. Wanted to sort of a bit of a follow-on from what you were just talking about. With Mike Conley this year, the whole starting unit seems to have much better chemistry than perhaps it did last year. I know there was a lot going on last year with the bubble and whatnot, but how important is it to have a strong starting unit during the regular season, and does the importance of that starting unit change during the playoffs?
I think you look at the playoffs. I'll start the second part of your question. You look at the playoffs. The importance of having a good starting five is always essential. I think it's key. You know, just having guys who get each other, understand where they need to be, understand where guys like to game, and have a good feel for the game. And then you go with our group. We have great depth, so we got guys who are our second unit comes in and we don't miss a beat. You know, I think that's something that's pretty special as well, and something that should be definitely emphasized as well. But then you get to the playoffs, and you know, the one thing I've always heard, you know, and seeing is that, you know, the stars are going to be the starters. You know, they're going to do what they do. You know, you look at, I'll break it down to our series against Denver. You know, you look at myself, even with Boyan, myself, Mike, or Rudy, and then Jamal, Jokic, like those guys, we're going to do our thing. You know, there's always going to be the consistent, but it's the second unit guys. You know, you look at us, like George had a big game. JC had a hell of a series. Like Mie coming in, stepping in, Juwan coming in, being a starter from not even playing to being a starter. That's what changes in the playoffs, because that's what elevates each team, you know, because you know what you're going to get from the primary group, but then now it's like, where do we get, you know, different pieces? You know, I was a big Heat fan back in the day, and you look at, you know, it's famous with Mike Miller's shoe game where his shoe fell off, like, and he had like 6 threes, but like those are, you got Shane Battier, you got DeRay Allen, like, you know what I mean? Like you got guys like that being able to make those plays. So for us, you know, I think that's something that's even huge. And with the depth that we have, the guys that we have that can make shots at any time, that can get stops at any time, that's what I think is, you know, is definitely important come playoff time, and even more so than I would say in the regular season.
That's great. Thanks.
All right, last question. Andrew Lopez, ESPN.
Hey, Donovan, doing a story on alley-oops and just kind of what kind of goes into that from a player's perspective with guards and bigs. To you, what makes a good alley-oop, and two, what kind of nonverbal cues do you use on the court? I know Rudy kind of told me a couple weeks ago, he's like, he almost pointed too much sometimes. You guys kind of got on him about it, but what makes a good alley-oop, and then what kind of nonverbal cues, and when do you work on that?
As the passer or as the receiver of it?
It could be both.
I think more so when I always talk about me and Rudy, with me and him, like, you know, my alley-oops to him come more so off of my drive. So it's not really a signal so for me than it is maybe with Joe or Mike. Like mine's more so, all right, I'm looking and it's at the last second. It's more so of a knowing that he's going to be there. We've gotten to that point. At the beginning, it was more so pointing and then kind of figuring out, watching film, all right, this is where he's going to be. So now I'm at a point where I know he's going to be where he's going to be. So I kind of just know, just put it up there. On the flip side, for me, since I don't jump as much as I was telling somebody on here, I think it was Ben, it's more so like a look or like a point, like, you know, and then I'll tell you in the timeout, like, all right, I have legs today. Like I can go get it instead of just throwing the bounce pass and a layup. I think that's really what it is for me. But if you put it up there, I think the best part about an alley-oop pass is not a good one. I think the bad ones are what make the best plays. You know, I think those are what make the highlights. You know, from, you know, I can think of the one that Bam threw to Derrick Jones last year. It was an awful pass. But like Derrick Jones made something out of it. You know what I mean? I think that's one that really sticks out when I think of bad passes. But or even the one that Royce threw to me in the playoffs. I tell him all the time it's a terrible pass, terrible decision making. But a great, like a dunk. You know what I mean? Like I think that's what makes the best alley passes and the best dunks are the bad passes. If that makes sense.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
No problem.
All right, that's it. Thank you, Donovan.
For the record, Macklemore texted Kendrick.